guys, by popular demand, guess who's back? It's Tim the Bald Guy.
I'm back.
Tim the Bald Guy is back, and we've got a good episode. We're talking player projections and stat lines. So Tim's got a list of players he's handpicked, and I'm going to tell you how I think they're going to finish, their potential stats, how they're going to end up this year. And these are some big names. And I tried to select, and we tried to go through this list of people that I get frequently asked about, like guys like Juju. How is Juju going to do? How is Breece Hall going to do? So some popular names here today on the show. And so we're talking player projections, and it's going to be an exciting one, Tim. I'm ready to dive in. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. So like I always tell you guys, no matter whether I'm on camera or not, I'm always here. I'm always in Joe's ear. I'm always giving advice. So if you're not following his Instagram, go to the Instagram. We were together earlier this week. We went down to the beach. We shot a funny little video for Manscaped. It's hilarious. You got to check it out. Obviously, there's some little jokey pun things going on in there that we're doing with, especially with CMC. That's the best one. Yeah, so I'm always here, whether I'm on camera or not. Don't worry about it. You're getting my opinion one way or the other.
Yeah, Tim is always there. Not always there when you call, but always on time. Remember that old song there, Tim?
And I am always on time.
All right. So, guys, the show is brought to you, though. And speaking of manscaped.com, by the way, go there, use code ShowerLine20 on the website. Tim needs Manscaped badly. So, what we're going to do, Tim, is I'm actually going to go ahead and ship you what I think this is what you need. I think you need the ultra smooth package here. And this is typically that people use these on their balls, but I think Tim needs it on his face. So, what you're going to get here, guys, is you're going to get your crop gel, actually your exfoliator, your crop gel to lubricate it, and then you're going to shave. Tim definitely needs a shave. So manscaped.com, guys, go treat yourself. Use code ShowerLine20. Treat yourself to some amazing products, guys. Again, Tim needs it. I know you guys need it. And they've got another amazing product like deodorants, body wash, the Lawnmower 4.0. Go treat yourself, Tim. Right now.
Since you called it out, I'll just say that this is hairier than that. All right.
I need to know.
That's cleaner. That is Manscaped. This, not so much, you know.
Too much.
When you think about it, look at bald on top, just like something else. Little few hairs here and there down the side, right? And then here's your balls.
Way too much information. All you guys got to worry about is not so much on Tim's geographical hairy areas. We need to focus on going to Manscaped, using that code. And people are DMing me actually saying, hey, man, it's been working really well for me. I love the product. Again, I love the body wash shampoo. Smells amazing. Wife likes it. Can't complain. So
it's an awesome product.
Got ShowerLine20. Go get it. And another cool thing, Tim, is when you go to the site, they actually have discounts already. And then at checkout, you get additional 20% off. So
nice.
Huge discounts. All right. So go do that. All right. Let's dive into this, guys. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Let me know some of your projections on some of the guys you mentioned or other guys that you guys want to talk about. All right. So first guy, Tim, we've got Aaron Jones. I know you've got a list. I know you've got the list, but I know the first guy was Aaron Jones. So I cheated here.
Yeah, we've got a 1-2 going on here. We got two guys on the same team, but let's start it with Aaron Jones. Give me your idea. Give me your prediction.
All right, so here's the deal with Aaron Jones. I'm a little bothered drafting Aaron Jones this year because here's the deal. You're going to have to pay for him. And I have a problem paying for somebody where I'll give you the plus and the minuses because there is some pluses. I have a problem paying for this guy. He is currently sitting 10th in standard amongst running backs. We don't talk standard. We talk PPR. He is sitting 9th in PPR amongst running backs.
You drive me nuts with this, and you must drive all the other guys nuts too. Don't just say running backs. People want to know by round. So I hate it when you say he's ninth amongst running backs.
I do it by the category, the running back.
I know, but then people got to try to figure out for themselves overall. Where's he going? Yeah. So he is a late second.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it coming off earlier. See, what people are doing, Tim, here's the deal. You got to understand this. He's actually coming off early second sometimes because what people are doing, Tim, a lot of running backs are coming off early. Like you get Henry off the board, CMC, Dalvin Cook, all these guys, Najee, Jonathan Taylor, they're all coming off. Then you're on that turn and you got to make a decision. So a lot of people are saying, well, Aaron Jones is there. Let's grab him. Where I'm saying, like, let's go Saquon Barkley near the end of the first or early second. So, yeah, based on kind of ADP, end of second, but he is coming off because people want those running backs. All the mock drafts I'm doing, this is a pattern. He's coming off very early. And the big thing is projection. So again, the main problem I have with this plus and minus, let's talk about the plus. Devontae Adams is gone, 159 or 169 freed up targets. He is using the passing game quite a bit. But if you look at it statistically last year and you say who the RB1 is, I'm saying Dylan's the one. Again, what makes an RB1? I say it's volume attempts, overall production. He outdid him. Now, if you look at it, Aaron Jones did play 15 games in his defense, right? I think it was 15 games, whereas Dylan, I think he played, all 17, right? Or he was there for almost every game. So 187 attempts for Dylan, Tim, 171 for Aaron Jones, 803 rushing yards for Dylan, 799, not much, but there, and 5 touchdowns to 4 touchdowns. Now, Aaron Jones had a little more receptions, 52 to 34 compared to AJ Dillon, but Dillon was the guy, Tim. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah, so my thoughts on this are this really could be a running back committee this year. It's going to be a different offense for sure with Adams gone. Lazard's not going to be able to pick up the slack. He's not going to fill those shoes. So I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit of a different offense, and I think both running backs are going to be used really well.
I think so too, but here's the problem I'm having. If I'm seeing statistically last year, Dillon is outdoing, right? He outdid him last year, kind of based on volume. He had a couple more games, whatever. That hinders me enough to say, well, this looks like that Nick Chubb Kareem Hunt type situation where it's going to be a committee. I don't want to overpay for Aaron Jones. I just don't. Now, yeah.
Sorry, that's exactly my point too. I'm saying, do you want to take Jones? You're saying early second. I'm just going to go off ADP, even though we don't like to use that. To me, he's a mid to late second. AJ's going late fifth even. So for the value, you've got to go AJ. It all depends on how your draft plays out, right? Everybody's got to take that into account, but I'm kind of going off of a best case scenario here. I'm saying I'd probably rather go AJ late fifth.
I like that value. I like it. I don't like Aaron Jones, younger, more, I think he's a bigger, stronger back. I think it's one of those situations. If Aaron Jones went away, Dillon would be like a top 5 running back. He's a beast workhorse guy. He's got that, not as good as Jonathan Taylor, but could be a guy that's going to, finish top 5, top 10 if Jones was gone. But Jones there stealing that volume. It's really, really frustrating. But we got our main episode of focus is projection. So similar to last year, I figured Jones has around 180 attempts, around 800 to 900 yards on the ground. Average yards per carry should stay the same, around 4.7. I picture around 6 touchdowns on the ground. And again, similar receptions, 52 receptions. Maybe that goes up, actually. I think that goes up again with that void there with Adams being gone, more of a reliable target. So very similar numbers to last year, but a little bit of an uptick in reception. 6 rushing or receiving touchdowns. I think that stays the same. Again, very similar numbers because I don't see Dillon going away, Tim. I don't.
I'm actually thinking the touchdowns on the ground, though, are going to go up. With Adams gone, it's going to be Jones more in the red zone now.
Yeah. All right, Tim, who else do we got number 2 here? Let's keep going on with player projections and open discussion here.
Yeah, so like I said, let's stick on the same team here, and let's go Lazard.
Lazard is interesting. Lazard is very interesting. Since we're talking Aaron Rodgers, I want to talk a little bit. Aaron Rodgers made the news in a different type of manner, though, not the way you're thinking about it, like, in regards to like camp news. It was actually Davante Adams. He came out and said Davante Adams describes going from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr, Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer. Now, I just did a video on this. I made a big joke. I did a laughing video. This is comical because when you compare the two, it's not even the same class. Derek Carr has 2 playoff appearances, Tim. 2 playoff appearances. And guess how many playoff wins? A big donut. 0. So this is a guy that just got a contract extension, big money, years to wow us. We're not wowed. And he's in a tough division. He's in with Russell Wilson, Pat Mahomes, and Justin Herbert. It's not going to be an easy division to win. I think they finished 4th in that division, even with Davante Adams. But again, the delusion of Davante Adams to say that, you're going from one Hall of Famer to another, he's just forcing that out. He is.
Yeah, he's just propping up his guy.
Yeah. And again, so let's go back to Lazard to break that news to you guys or inform you about that. When we're talking here, Lazard, okay? I'm a big Christian Watson guy who's a top rookie drafted. There's tons of upside, great athleticism. Lazard, years to wow us, Tim. We're not really wowed. Again, Adams was there. But I think a statement just came out with Rodgers. He was just talking about it. He's excited about Sammy Watkins, Randall Cobb, and Alan Lazard. Those veterans didn't mention Christian Watson. Now, there's an undisclosed injury or something's going on where Christian Watson, the rookie, again, the first guy drafted by the Packers. I think he was third pick overall by them, but in the second round, but he was the first wide receiver picked by them, handpicked by them. This guy is on the PUP list going into the season. And again, that's a big hindrance because is he going to have that rapport with Rodgers? Bottom line is he's a sleeper late round. The big question is can Lazard fill that wide receiver 1 spot? I don't know. I have my question marks. And Tim's shaking his head here. Again, this is my psychology, and call me crazy here. If he was that good, and again, people say, well, that's nuts. So there's no way he could surpass Adams. If he was that good, he would have beat Devontae Adams, but he didn't. So that makes me feel he's not a true one. So that's the kind of feeling I'm getting. I'm not excited to have this guy as the one.
No. No, he can't fill the shoes of Adams. There's no doubt about it. He's been in the league for technically 4 years now, but he only had one game in 2018. So let's say 3 years. And his career high was last year with 8 touchdowns on 40 receptions. It's just not going to cut it. He's not going to get that extra work.
He could actually. Adams is gone. Why wouldn't he get that extra?
No, because there's so many different guys that are probably about the same caliber as Lazard. I'm not going to say he's head and shoulders above all the rest. There's like 3 or 4 receivers there now that are kind of all on a level playing field as far as I'm concerned. So I don't see any one of them jumping up and going from 40 receptions up to 100, 120 even. It's just, to me, it's not going to happen. I think this is going to be running back by committee with the wide receivers kind of getting some room here and there to open things up for them.
There's a lot of
I'm saying no way.
There's a lot of offenses that are in a mess like this, right? So we don't know what's going to happen out of Christian Watson. Can he step in and be ultra elite? But again, Rodgers has that kind of reputation that he doesn't throw to guys that he doesn't have that rapport with. He's kind of a dick like that. He's like, these are my guys. I like him. Even though Randall Cobb is old as mud here, whatever. What's the analogy?
Old as F.
Old as F, whatever. I'm trying to not swear, right? He's old. The guy's washed up, right? But yet Rodgers loves him, right? And then you got Alan Lazard, kind of years to wow us. We're not wowed. He had Jordy Nelson there. He was old as mud as well. Jordy Nelson years ago, old as mud, but still like really squeezing blood out of a stone, right? So again, I'm not really excited about these guys, these wide receiver cores. Again, that's why I like the Christian Watson later. So when you're talking Alan Lazard stat line, it's very, very hard to gauge. Again, Watkins, years to wow us. We're not wowed. So this is going to be a tough one here, Tim, but assuming that, again, freed up targets are there, Lazard has to go up to at least 100 target floor. I'm picturing 60 to 70 receptions, 8 to 10 touchdowns. Young guy, and he has had some flashes of he could be good. So again, am I excited? Not really. This is a tough one to call, man. It really is. The
big thing to me is for a guy that's expected or considered the wide receiver one on this team now, he is a late round pick.
Yeah, you're getting value.
There's huge value there. I mean, if you're looking for a guy this late, like I see based on ADP, late 9, early 10, the value's there.
And that's what I love about this. That's what I love about it. You can really stack Lazard and Watson and get amazing value. And here's the thing that I don't get. I still think he's going to have a good season, right? He's not that high caliber Jamar Chase kind of wide receiver. But what I do like about him is the fact that the opportunity is there and that value. You're getting a Aaron Rodgers wide receiver one super late after the 5th round, 6th round, 7th round. He's falling. You don't have to invest that early draft capital on a wide receiver 2, like a T. Higgins is going like round 3, a Jalen Waddle, who's a wide receiver 2 on Miami next to Tyreek Hill. He's a wide receiver 2 theoretically, right? And you're spending a 3rd round draft capital. Now you're getting a wide receiver 1 in the 7th round. Love the value. Love the marks here, obviously.
Yeah.
All right, next on the list, who do we have?
This is a guy that you are kind of in love with again, and I'm still saying no, but Saquon Barkley. Before we start into this one, I'm going to sound like a broken record, Tim. Contract year, improved O-line, focal point of that offense, ultra elite talent. Just good. He's sitting 11th amongst running backs on the consensus. This guy's coming off. I saw him now. I'm in a $2,000 buy-in league, right? He actually came off 10th overall because again, you're in that situation where these running backs are coming off early and you got to make a decision. Are we going Nick Chubb? Are we going Aaron Jones? You got options there. You got maybe Mixon falls, maybe, but if he's gone early on, then you've got Saquon. You're thinking about him here, right? Tons of volume, tons of opportunity. No committee was preserved last year for this year. He looks good. I've been watching him work some lateral drills, working, angles, working some, digging deep, doing some runs and some routes. And he looks good. He looks like he's not hindered at all. 2 years removed off that, knee injury. I think he's going to have a massive year. What are your thoughts? No, he's on a shit team. I don't care that they made a couple of they're a garbage team. They should do him and themselves a favor and trade him. Get some good capital for the guy, move him off. He would do so much better on a good team with a decent offense. These guys are just garbage.
Yeah. I mean,
So he is the focal point, but he was the focal point in the rookie season, and he performed the way everybody expected him to. Hasn't been the same since. Have teams figured him out? Are teams just able to stack because the team is such garbage? They can't stay on the field long enough to have their offense really do a lot for them. It all kind of goes hand in hand, man. It's just he can't thrive on this team.
but this is the end of the line. This is it. This is it.
Trade him now. Get what you can for him. Let him go to a better team.
But unless he doesn't care about his career, this is it. That he has to thrive here. This is the end of the line. Like this is his contract year. Like if he doesn't perform here, no one's gonna want him, and then his career is pretty much done. This is it. So he has to perform. His back's against the wall. This is a make or break year. No committee, improved O-line. I'm all in on Saquon as part of a robust RB strategy, not just Saquon wide receiver, Saquon and someone else like a Javonte and hopefully Zeke or someone falls coming back or Montgomery as your RB3 or like, Breece Hall. But again, I just love the ceiling, love the upside. Now we're talking projections and stat line, Tim. This is a very interesting one to project. I got to say that there's a floor of 10 rushing touchdowns. I mean, if there's on the goal line, if they make it to the goal line, Tim, he's got to be the guy. So 10 touchdowns on the ground. We're looking at a floor of 900 yards on the ground. I mean, he could explode, but I'm being very conservative here, very laid back on his projection. 900 yards. I say around 40, 50 receptions because I think they're going to line up as a receiver, 2 to 3 receiving touchdowns. I see him easily finishing in the top 10. But again, you got to feel a little bit suspect about him going into the season, a little bit hesitant. I'm rolling the dice on him. I like him. I think this is it.
Now, his ADP is late second. Where are you looking to take him? You're taking him late one if he's there?
I saw him come off late one, and he's starting to come off late one because, again, everybody is going. So, again, maybe because it's me such promoting this robust RB, or maybe people are realizing that there's only a handful of robust running backs, but you got to make a decision because if you don't get him, if you're drafting 12th and you don't get him at 13 on that turn, or if you're drafting 11th and you don't get him on the 14th, right on that turn, on that bend in a snake draft, he's not going to come back around to you. So you got to make that decision. Do I want Nick Chubb? Do I want Aaron Jones? If you're thinking running back, that is. Or do I want to roll the dice on a guy like Saquon? I like that dice roll on Saquon at the end of the first round, early second.
Yeah, honestly, of the three, I'd be taking Chubb. Definitely more consistent.
Oh my God, are you serious?
No. So let's get into it. Next guy up, okay. Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb. All right. I don't like him. And did you see that video of him squatting like 600 pounds?
No.
Oh, Tim doesn't.
I don't care. I don't watch social media all the time. I don't care about what they do off the field like you do. Oh my God, look at he's out with his buddies having a drink and smoking. Oh my God. Fuck it.
Why did your camera go blurry too?
That's probably me because I'm so hot. The heat is just extending off my body.
Really?
I don't watch our video while we're filming, so it looks fine to me.
Looks fine. He's a little blurry. All right. So anyway, maybe it's that beard, Tim. You're throwing off the whole.
Yeah, it's trying to catch up all the little guys that are hanging.
Tim looks pixelated. All right. Anyway, bottom line is Nick Chubb. I'm not excited. Again, Kareem Hunt was banged up last year, and Nick Chubb completely busted. Well, not completely, but he busted. This is a guy that was supposed to finish as a top 5, top 6, top 8 running back, and he busted, Tim. He didn't finish top 5, top 10.
We've always kind of been on the same page with these guys. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, their value to the team is almost the same, blah, blah, blah. So I always say
13.
I always say his price is too high. This year especially is going to be a tough one, a weird one, a strange one for Cleveland. Like, who's going to be the starting quarterback? It sure looks like it's going to be Brissett for at least half the year, and then Watson after the fact. Watson being a huge throwing quarterback. So many question marks this year.
Watson's not coming back. I don't see him coming this year. He's not going to be there.
I don't know. They're only talking 4 to 8 games. I'm sure it's going to be 8, and then you could be right. It could be more so. It could be the whole year. So there's a big question mark too, though. Then what's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. You're actually clear now. It seems like when you were talking good about Nick Chubb, you went pixelated. All of a sudden, now that you've seen the light,
I'm not seeing it on my end, man. So it's you.
I don't know if it's going to show up on YouTube or not. But I got to tell you, Nick Chubb, I'm avoiding him. Again, what you see is what you get. He finished 13th last year. I don't see him finishing higher than that. Again, we saw Kareem Hunt hurt last year. Nick Chubb's stat line last year, 228 attempts, 1,259 yards, 8 touchdowns. Safe, boring, and I understand why you'd want him on that turn, on that 12, 13 pick, and I understand that. But for me, I'm staying away from guys that are in situations when it's a committee situation. That's a split backfield, especially in PPR when we know Kareem Hunt is used as a receiver more often than Nick Chubb. I'm fading him. He busted last year. Fool me twice. Shame on you, whatever you want to call it. I'm done. Shame on me.
So to me, Chubb is the guy who pounds the ball. He is the running back. He's the guy who will do the heavy lifting. But like you say, Kareem Hunt is there, and he's pretty good running, and he's very good catching. So to me, especially if Deshaun comes in, it's going to turn into the Kareem Hunt show in the second.
There you go. Heavy lifting. I'm holding up the video, guys, right here. Look at that. Can you see that, Tim? That's like 610 pounds. I don't know if that's fake or not, but look at that. So we're talking heavy lifting.
Come on. Look at that bar. Are you serious?
Spending. I don't even know if it's real or not. I'm assuming it's real. But anyway, so the point I'm trying to make, guys, heavy lifting, Tim's got that right. No pun intended. But again, stat line, I'm not expecting anything different. So basically what you've seen for the past 3 years, same type of thing. Actually, no, he had a pinnacle year a couple years ago. What you saw last year, give or take a few metrics on each. Again, 13th, I see him finishing 16th to 20th. Again, with Kareem Hunt being more involved this year, different suspect quarterback situation. I'm fading Nick Chubb, staying away from that committee. No for me.
If he goes early to mid-second, he's not bad. That's not a bad price for him. He's more consistent than Hunt as far as staying on the field and getting the opportunities and stuff. However, that being said, Chubb going mid-second possibly. Hunt's not going till late 7. The value is with Hunt.
Yeah. Again, similar. Another committee. You're going to have this with Javonte. You got Melvin Gordon there. You're going to have this with Dylan and Aaron Jones. You're going to have Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. This is why a lot of people are going those running backs early. Now, there's this whole theory, Tim, when we're talking zero RB. There's all this, I'm going to go zero RB. I'm going to go wide receiver. Then you're stuck with like a crappy running back as your RB1, right? And their reasoning on why they go zero RB, load up on those wide receivers, is because running backs get hurt more often. I say all the more reason to get more running backs and stack them early, because then what if you go zero RB, you get wide receiver, and if your theory is correct that running backs get hurt, now you're stuck with a crappy running back in round 4 or 5 or a mediocre safe guy, and then he gets hurt. Now you've got nothing. And Tim, you're proof of this. A couple of years ago, you tried this zero RB. You got screwed, man. You had no running backs that year.
Yeah. I did have one top. I think it might have been Saquon at the time, who got injured and missed pretty much the entire year. So I did get screwed for sure going that way.
All right. Who else do we have next year for player projections and discussion?
This one, I don't understand it, but let's hear your take first. DeAndre
Swift. All right. A lot of hype around this guy. Currently sitting, and again, per the position, is 8th amongst running backs. Again, this guy's coming out very early, late first round. He's a guy I'm completely avoiding. Now, the Lions have made improvements in that offense. Goff is into a position now where he's like, I'm settled in now. And Goff is a relatively efficient quarterback. Okay. They brought in, Jamal Williams is coming back. They've got DJ Chark. They brought in stud rookie wide receiver on paper, Jameson Williams, who's banged up going into the season. Hawkinson is as good as tight ends can be if healthy, right? So they've got some weapons. It looks like a pretty good offense on paper. But when I look at the years to wow me, I'm not wowed with Swift. I'm not wowed. This guy peaked at 151 attempts. Now you're saying, well, Joe, he got hurt last year, or he didn't play the full season, blah, blah, blah. Played 13 games. And when he did play, he had a couple good games in there. What was his biggest game? He had week 7, he had a 28-pointer in PPR, and he had a good week 11, 22.6. He had a good week 3 and a good week 1. So, Tim, there is some games where he is showing that he's got that boom type of ceiling, but then look at the duds here. He had an 8.9 in week 4. He had a 3.9er in week 12, a 5.9er in week 17, 8.1er in week 8. So I'm seeing a lot of volatility here, Tim. But again, another thing I'm seeing is that, and then there's this 1 week, Tim, in week 10, he had 33 attempts, but only 3.9 yards per carry and 0 rushing touchdowns. Even with 33 attempts, Tim, he had 130 yards. Like, he had to 33 attempts, dude. This guy should run over 250 yards. Like, again, I'm not excited, Tim. Are you excited based on statistical? You're a math guy.
No,
what do you think?
Not at all, man. In fact, I say, don't drink the Kool-Aid. He's not worth as high a pick as what he's going, man. He is a decent scat back on a lousy team. And you might say, oh, they've made some improvements. They've got some wide receivers. Yes, but they don't have any stud. They don't have anything amazing. Like, to me, their best receiver is TJ. So I consider Swift a good third-round pickup, but that's not where he's going. He's going way too high.
Expensive. I'm just not paying. And some people have debated me on this. Joe, he's young, he's dynamic, looked good in some games. He didn't play the full season, looked good down the stretch, blah, 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 blah. Again, I'm not sold. I'm not paying that. And it's going to be one of those conversations we're going to have, I think. This reminds me of the old when people thought that Damian Williams was better than Derrick Henry kind of situations where Damian was ranked like top 10, Henry was ranked below, and then Henry crushed it that year. Or the time that Baker Mayfield was ranked ahead of Josh Allen, people were legit thinking I was crazy because I thought Josh Allen was better than Baker Mayfield. And they're like, you're nuts. Baker is better. This feels like one of those situations where you're going to look at a guy like Breece Hall, right, who's ranked 20th amongst running backs, or a guy like even Zeke Elliott, who's ranked 17th. People are sleeping on him. We're going to talk about him, I think, in this show. It's crazy. I'm not sold. I'm not drinking it, not drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm not sold.
No, 2 years, and he's played 13 games each year. So he's constantly missing a few. Not a huge deal, especially for a running back, but the numbers just aren't there. His fantasy points per game on average is around 15, which is pretty decent, but I'm not going to spend a late first, early second on this guy just because maybe things will pan out this year. No way. There's better options.
So projection here, 100. I'm going to really be on the side of, where the consensus are on this one. I'm going to be really like liberal on this or whatever you want to call it. 180 attempts compared to his 151 last year and 114 the year before. So I'm going to give him 180 attempts on the ground, assuming he takes that spot, becomes the one, which he should be the one. 800 rushing yards on the ground, 8 touchdowns. And, his receptions, he had 452 receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. That thing, I think that stays the same. Maybe give him an extra receiving touchdown. He's going to have a safe year if healthy, right? But is he going to finish the season? He's only played 13 games the past 2 seasons, has not finished the season in his first 2 years, going into his third season, second round pick. They drafted high draft capital in him. They believe in him. What is he made of? That's what we got to find out. What is he made out of?
I think your numbers are pretty good on him. I'm thinking like a 230 season is probably about where he's going to be. I wouldn't expect much more. So if you're willing to pay the price for him as a 230, go for it.
230 PPR fantasy points, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, next one on the list.
This freaking guy. You love to bash him too. Juju
Smith. I don't like him. I don't like the off-field stuff. I don't like the TikToks and all that stuff. Juju is a decent player. I mean, I wouldn't even say he's a great player. He was made, a couple of years ago. He had 166 targets. He had a lot of volume with Antonio Brown years ago with the Steelers. Brown was drawing double coverage, opening things up. And in that season, I watched that season closely. He had a couple big catch and runs, which completely inflated his numbers that particular season, which again, good on him. Had the speed, ran a slant route, ran away for a couple of big plays. In comes, a new season here with the Chiefs. You got Pat Mahomes, where 159 targets are freed up here with Tyreek gone. Tyreek was a big playmaker. You can't compare these two. Tyreek is a far superior wide receiver. And in regards to his ADP right now, pretty decent value. You can get this guy, after the 6th round? Again,
late 7 even.
Yeah, you get him for a steal, but there is some question marks here. Here are my question marks. First of all, I don't even think Juju's that good for that. Let's start off right there, right? Secondly, they've actually drafted 2 wide receivers who we don't even know how good that's going to translate in the NFL. They have Sky Moore. They have Justin Ross. They have the veteran there who's been there for a couple of years now, who was lining up with Tyreek Hill, who finally could be the wide receiver one in Mecole Hardman, who, again, is going undrafted. This guy is falling in drafts miraculously, right? They got MVS, who sucks. He was a big deep threat kind of guy who's had some history of dropping the ball, just never really got it go with Aaron Rodgers. I don't see that changing this year. They've got Travis Kelce there, who is clearly the wide receiver one, even though he's a tight end. They got Ronald Jones and catch the ball in the backfield. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Pat Mahomes runs himself. It's just a disaster. There's no clear-cut wide receiver one. We don't know who's going to emerge. I'm fading Juju completely, but we see him coming off. I saw him come off as early as the 5th round. To me, that's early, right? Again, for a guy who we're uncertain. So if some people think he's going to be the next Tyreek, I'm not seeing it. I'm not excited. There is some upside because he is with Mahomes. If Mahomes force feeds him, we got something here, but we don't know, Tim. We absolutely don't know.
Mahomes doesn't need to force feed him. This team has so many good players on it, and that Kelsey's the focal point. So no, he's not going to do that well. Nobody's going to drop Kelsey from his king of the throne thing. Juju's going to do okay, but there's still, we always pretty much say, stay away from KC for the most part. There's just too many good weapons. You don't know who's going to get the ball any one particular day. So just stay away.
I'm fading him. So stat line, this is a tough one. It's very hard for me to predict this one. I'm going to say the guy gets, man, I couldn't even guess, man. I'm going to say 100 targets, maybe. Is that too much? Maybe.
No, that sounds pretty good. I'm thinking 60 to 70 receptions.
Maybe 4 receiving touchdowns, something 4 or 5, maybe. Again, I got to be very laid back on this one. I'm avoiding him. That's just simple for me. I'm avoiding him. Could he boom? I don't see it. I just don't see him booming and becoming the next Tyreek Hill. So whatever Tyreek Hill, take 10 spots on ADP and drop him down in regards to finishes, at least 10 spots below fantasy points wise. I mean, there's no other way to kind of gauge this. It's very difficult to gauge. I had a guy who studies the Chiefs on. He doesn't even know who the wide receiver 1 is. It's one of those situations, those offenses where kind of like the Packers, we're uncertain as who's going to emerge, but you're going to see probably maybe a Justin Ross, who I've got stashed on a couple of these. Sky Morris, who I got stashed. Maybe one of these guys has a big breakout game and they're going to be waiver wire wonders, and maybe they run with it and they take off. Or Mecole Hardman, out of all people, could be we don't know. Very, very hard, very, very hard to judge. And when in doubt, I don't. So I'm fading that.
Yeah, good point.
All right.
Next up is Ezekiel Elliott.
Tim, again, I'm not seeing why everybody's sleeping on him. He is, when you're talking safe, right? And he's coming off in the 3rd round, right? So I'm looking at a guy on that 12, 13 turn. I'd rather have Zeke than Nick Chubb. I don't care what anybody says. This guy finished 7th last year in PPR amongst running backs. What we saw, Tim, over the past couple of years, if you put it on a chart, Pollard's attempts are going up and Zeke's are going down. We understand Pollard's become a factor, but I had the beat writer, the actual Cowboys beat writer on the show, and he thinks, he doesn't think, he knows Zeke is still the man. Last year, he played with a partially torn PCL. He was banged up last year, okay? Yet he still persevered, still endured, and still put up relatively good numbers. So when you're looking at a guy who's safe, solid, reliable, but lacks that ceiling and that upside, you're not going to get that boom type of year where he's going to absolutely explode like a Jonathan Taylor. He's as safe as they get. Zeke Elliott, I still like him, and I think he's an amazing value in the 3rd round. I'm all over him. Projected stat line, 1,200 yards on the ground, 240 attempts on the ground as well. I'd say 10 rushing touchdowns and around 30, 40 receptions. His reception shouldn't change much from last year, maybe a slight uptick, if anything. But if they want to win, they want to get, make it to the playoffs and farther, they got to run their best running back, which is Zeke. I love him. He's still going to finish top 10. Tim, what are your thoughts? Do you feel warm and fuzzy?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm totally with you on this one. For mid-3rd, all day long, baby. Take him for sure. I mean, he's got the size and strength. This guy can pound the ball, double-digit touchdowns, just like you said. Yeah. If you can get him late 2nd, early 3rd even, grab him. Sure.
I mean, last year's numbers, 237 attempts, 1,000 yards, 8 rushing touchdowns. I think his yardage goes up. Again, he barely cracked 1,000 last year. And if you look at him historically, right, great years. I mean, he had a 979 in regards to rushing yards in 2020, but before that, 1357, 1435 in 2018, 2019. The old Zeke is probably gone. You might not get a 2018 Zeke, but you're going to get a safe, reliable locker room hero guy the team looks up to, a veteran. I mean, you're going to get a good Zeke. His last hurrah, I think, is this year, Tim.
Yeah, good.
All right. Who's next? Projections.
CMC.
Oh, why did you have to go? Oh,
CMC.
Why don't you start with this one, Tim?
Oh, I'm going to swear.
Let's not swear on this one.
I've already sworn. I've already said a couple of swear words, so you missed it. Okay, so my point here is a fuck no. Why? Why do you guys keep taking this guy early 1st round? The last 2 years, 10 games played.
As soon as the modeling did it for me, right? If he's out there, I
mean, he's a good-looking guy, so who cares? Get your bread however you get your bread. But this guy just can't stay on the field. Who cares? He is amazing when he's on the field. Don't get me wrong. Like, truly one of the best ever. But yeah, early, like 2nd or 3rd pick this year again. Come on, guys. Get the F out of here. Like, what the hell?
And again, that's where I love the Saquon Barkley value in round 2. And again, I think we're talking similar player here. Both been hurt past couple of years. Both can't get it done. Both in a good situation. Not good. I mean, the offenses are both kind of weird, but what I'm trying to make is they're both, workhorse running backs who've been dealing with injuries the past couple of years. Give me the Saquon Barkley, avoid the Christian McCaffrey. Now, why do they like Christian McCaffrey? Let's talk about this. Their reasoning, again, I listened to the people, right? They're saying that still when he performed in this year, he's unstoppable. That's kind of the argument I'm getting. The second argument I'm getting on why he's so high is that because his injuries weren't catastrophic. They were fluky. He got pitch outside, he pitched to the outside, and then he tweaked his hamstring. Like, to me, I look at that as worse because with Saquon, that was something robust. It was a hard injury. It really took him out. Where if this guy's not getting touched and getting hurt, that's like you and I, Tim. You and I can go out there the same way. Right?
No, we're getting a little older in life, man. It's like if we wake up on the wrong side of the bed and get out of bed wrong, something happens. Yes, it's worse.
But this guy's still young, right? He's still physically in amazing shape, right? He's got the ultimate training, nutrition, the money. And dude, if I had people, setting my meals, making sure my blood levels are good, I'm optimal, I'm physically training, I don't think I'd get hurt if I ran a little pitch to the outside. You could say, well, Joe, body's complicated. No, I don't, man, it was crazy, man. Like if you saw that injury, Tim, literally he caught the ball, ran 4 feet, and he's like, something pulled. Dude, are you not stretching correctly? Are you out of shape? Are you too busy modeling? That to me is more of a red flag to me. Like this guy is injury prone. I don't like it. I don't like, especially with my first, second, third, or fourth pick. Forget it. I'm done. No.
Yeah. I mean, crap happens with anybody, but yes, it's unfortunately becoming a recurring theme with CMC, and everybody's still taking him really high based on what he can do. And I'm with you on what he can do. He is truly one of the best in the game when he's playing, but you can't ignore the fact that he's only played 10 games over the last 2 years and is constantly getting hurt. Even though he is such a physical specimen, I mean, the guy's amazing looking. There's no doubt about it.
All right,
but just get off of what he could do and base his value on what he has done. That's what you need to do, and then he's a value. But as a second, third round pick right now, you're just kind of throwing away your vote on a hope and a prayer, really.
Assuming he's healthy, we got to say 1,200 yards on the ground, 10 rushing touchdowns, 260 to 80 attempts. 90 targets for 70 receptions and 400 yards. I mean, this guy could boom. I mean, it's really hard to project him this year because again, you got new quarterback situation, wide receivers are different. It's a different offense than the one he had with, Cam Newton back in like 2018. It's a different scenario. And not to mention, are they going to be running him as much knowing he's been hurt this much? That's the big thing I have now. They brought in D'Onta Foreman. Foreman is, he's years to hours when I want, but he is a workhorse beast, can be a workhorse beast on his own. Put some respective numbers up last year. Chuba Hubbard was drafted. They've got some other guys that they can work in to preserve Christian McCaffrey. So it's a different offense. Baker Mayfield. Do we trust him? Again, different quarterback. So I don't know, Tim. This is it doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy with my second, third pick overall. It just doesn't.
God, no. I mean, they keep on talking about trying to preserve him. They're not letting him play any preseason games. They're not going to let him practice as much as the rest of the team. So they're trying to preserve him, and that will play over into the game as well. We're not going to. They said it the 1 year we weren't going to play him as much. 90% of the snaps, whatever he played, it's a ridiculous amount. That's why he gets injured. These guys get used up. When you're as good as he is, they play you all the time, and then you get used up, and that's what's happened. So they want to pull him back. His numbers may fall a little bit when he's in there. The team is based around him, unfortunately, though. If he doesn't do well, they don't do well. So it's a catch-22. You don't want to use him up, but you want your team to win. The only way you win is with CMC.
I'm fading him. Give me Saquon later.
Yeah, he's way too overpriced at second or third overall.
All right, who's next? We got 2 more on the list. Before we do, guys, get the last 2. Make sure you guys get the 16-round draft. So you use code TUBE20. Save yourself 20%. Crush your leagues, guys. 16 rounds. First ever only video training. Go get it. All right, Tim, let's go. Last 2.
Allen Robinson.
This is a tricky one here, Tim. What's his ADP right now?
He's going like late 6th round.
6th round. Okay, so this one's tough. Now, I can't hate on both Robinson and Kupp. Now, I'm fading Cooper Kupp. You guys know why. Pinnacle season, astronomical numbers. I'm going robust RB early on. I'm fading Cooper Kupp. So that being said, you got to take a look at this guy. He's the wide receiver 2 on that team. Now, here's the deal with Allen Robinson, okay? Old F, okay? This guy's been in the league going
Old
into
AF.
old AF, yeah, old S. All right, so 2014 was his, rookie year. Had this astronomical season. I'm going to tell you something, okay? I haven't been drafting Allen Robinson, but since that 2015 year, in the back of my mind, I've been waiting for a similar type year. And again, if you guys don't remember, in Jacksonville, 1,400 yards, 14 touchdowns receiving, had himself a nice little campaign. Now, if you pull that up in PPR numbers, that was a 304-point season. Allen Robinson. The year after, busted 883 yards, 6 touchdowns. And then after that, Jacksonville played one game, got hurt, 13 games in 2018. And it's just been kind of downhill. Now, he had 2 1,000-yard rushing seasons in Chicago. Nothing fantastic. He's never duplicated or come close or had double-digit receiving touchdown seasons other than that 2015 year, Tim. Again, 7 touchdowns in 2019, 6 touchdowns in 2020. Last year, not even sure what happened to him. I think he was played 12 games, didn't get going, was on the Bears, disaster, quarterbacks, couldn't get it going. Now he's got a good quarterback, but they've got a true wide receiver one. I don't know which Robinson I'm going to get. I don't know how he's going to gel with Stafford. I don't even know if they're going to have a Super Bowl hangover this year. Now, if Cooper Kupp gets hurt, which Tim's going to hate this, I'm projecting a Cooper Kupp injury. I know that's terrible. I'm terrible. What goes up must come down. It was just such a perfect year. We saw the same thing with Michael Thomas after his good year. Then he was cursed with an injury the year after in 2020. I'm not sold on Cooper Kupp duplicating those numbers. But that being said, if I'm not sold on Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson's got to step up because Kupp's either going to get hurt or decline. Someone's got to step up. So he's got that safety blanket feel to him. I don't feel like he's going to go off unless Cooper Kupp gets hurt or something like that. I'm not giddy about Allen Robinson. I'm not targeting Allen Robinson, especially knowing how high of a ceiling and how much rapport Cooper Kupp is going to get. So again, this one is up. My hands are up in the air. I'm avoiding the situation.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Like you say, he's not gonna like step in and be the number one. He's not gonna take away a lot of volume from Kupp. Kupp is the guy. Robinson will be there as another weapon on a pretty good offense with a quarterback that likes to throw the ball. So to me, he's going to get his numbers. He's going to do pretty well, especially as, what did we say, 6th round, 7th round pick.
Yeah,
sure, it's a great price for him. 5 to 7 touchdowns, max out at 1,000 yards, but still, that's good, man. He's good. For his value, he's another great value. Why not?
He's going to be a safe guy. Projected stat line, 800 yards maybe receiving. Again, if Kupp stays healthy and Kupp maintains at the pace or even a slight decline based on last year's performance, if Kupp maintains that again, or similar, Allen Robinson should have an 800 receiving yard season. Again, target wise, very hard to gauge. 80 to 110 maybe targets. It's tough. 60 to 80 receptions. Again, projecting this guy out, especially with Kupp there, is very difficult. They got Jefferson as well, who's been with the team longer, got that rapport. Higbee's going to catch some balls. Cam Akers, we don't know what's going to happen with him. He's total boomer bust. So, yeah, Tim's not a Cam Akers guy. I'm not feeling Cam Akers either. He has that ceiling, but again, years to hours, we're not wowed.
Yeah, people have been trying to sell him for the last couple of years, and he's been garb.
All right, last one, Tim. Who else do we got?
Breece Hall.
You're not excited about this guy because of the offense. I know we talked about this a little bit before the game. I'm giddy about this guy.
I know, but that's the problem. You always get giddy about certain rookie running backs, and once in a while they pay off. Sometimes they don't. This is another one though. It's just he's on a garbage team again. So give your spiel.
Okay, so here's how I feel about this. Now, Tim, I don't know how good if you keep receipts or not, or how good your memory is, but I remember a couple of years ago when Le'Veon Bell went to the Jets. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And what the Conchiefs did. And I remember clear as day saying Le'Veon Bell is a product of the offense. He's not a guy that's going to perform the same way he did on the Steelers on the Jets. And so what was happening, Tim, is he was being drafted at the end of the first round, all drafts. Everyone thought that it's the same Le'Veon Bell on the Jets. Back then, the Jets weren't as good as they potentially could be now. They made some good moves in the offseason, improved the O-line, drafted a stud wide receiver in Garrett Wilson. They got Elijah Moore, who's settling in now. They brought in Corey Davis at wide receiver. They got Zach Wilson in a make-or-break year, who was a top prospect, rookie quarterback coming in. He could really shine. Now, you probably heard the offseason stuff where he's like banging his mom.
Stifler's mom, yeah.
Stifler's mom, whatever. the guy is ballsy, right? I mean, there is a lot of hype. He's a dynamic playmaker, had some inaccuracy issues last year, but there is a ceiling there with Zach Wilson. Could be special, right? So when you look at Breece Hall coming in, they have Michael Carter there, peaked at 147 targets, 47 attempts, didn't really get it going. There is talk, coaching saying Breece Hall is the guy. He's going to be the guy. They like him. They invested high draft capital. I think they moved up the draft to get him when they needed to address other positions. They really invested high draft capital in him, and he is the top prospect coming out of the draft. So after explaining all this to you, and then I tell you that Breece Hall is going to be a volume guy. They need him to win. They need to run the ball. He's explosive. He can run. He can catch. And the nice thing about it is the value. So people, again, the mainstream were telling you to draft Le'Veon Bell in a situation that was far worse than it is now, and a running back that isn't as good as Breece Hall. I like Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall is superior guy to Le'Veon Bell. You're going to see it. And the third round, man, as an RB3 with a ceiling that could be huge, I'm all over him in third round. It's up to you to make a decision, though, Tim, in the third round. Do you like a guy like David Montgomery, a safe floor, a guy like Zeke, who we talked about, or a guy with an upside ceiling in Breece Hall? I love it.
Well, from what I saw on Breece Hall, his ADP is actually early to mid fourth. However, I don't like you saying that he's superior to Le'Veon Bell. This guy hasn't played a down in NFL yet. So you saying that they're better than a player that's already done well,
I'm envisioning it. Good
always
point.
pisses me off.
No,
but to me, he's a good player with opportunity and potential. Yes, on a garbage team. Carter is still there. Carter did okay last year. But the price is still decent, especially if he's early to mid fourth. He's a decent grab. However, there are guys that I would rather have that are even picked after him. So Elijah Mitchell, AJ Dillon, Kareem Hunt. These are guys that I would rather have than Breece Hall.
All right.
So, he's a decent value where he is because of his opportunity. But to me, I'm still scared of the garbage team.
I disagree. I would not be touching those guys over him.
You wouldn't take a Kareem Hunt over Breece Hall? Kareem Hunt's more of a proven running back.
You got to get on the show.
You're the crystal ball guy. You're like, Breece Hall, the opportunity's there. Yes, your team is garbage. Oh, I'll forget that. No.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people might be on your boat, Tim, where they think the team is garbage. I'm crazy. I'm delusional. Breece Hall, don't sleep. Projected stat line. Let's talk about it. I'm picturing, again, you got to take a look at all those bottom feeders that got a bunch. There's about 100 attempts last year just to bottom feeder running backs on that team last year. You could probably pull it up while I'm talking. I don't even know who was on that team.
Carter was their big thing.
He had 140. I don't have it in front of me, but yeah, like Ty, I think it's like Ty Johnson, all these like bottom feeder guys. Those guys are going away. They're not getting that volume. So project a decline in, Michael Carter. He gets down to around, 60 to 100 attempts. I picture Breece Hall getting around 240 attempts. I think they're going to run him. I think he's going to be a reception monster. I think he's going to get a ton of goal line work, all the goal line work for that matter. Let's see, barring any type of injury. I'm picturing a 1,200 rushing yard season, 12 touchdowns on the ground, at around 40 receptions for around 2 receiving touchdowns, and around 300 to 400 receiving yards. I like Breece Hall. That's my projection. I think he's got that boom type potential. Now, am I telling you to draft him as your RB1? Absolutely not. And again, you're right. Some of the drafts I've been doing, people have been taking him in the third round. That's just kind of where I see him. But his ADP is typically in the fourth round, correct? But again, I like him in the third round. I reach for him there. I feel comfortable with him as my RB3 after I've gone 2 other solid running backs in the first 2 rounds.
And he's a crapshoot there. He could pay off and he could just be a safe and steady. I think you're pretty optimistic on the numbers. You're saying 1,200 rushing yards. I'm thinking more like 800 would be a ceiling, but only time will tell, man. I'm telling you, though, there's guys that I would rather have than him.
That being said, I want to make it official that I did pass up on him in 2 leagues. I'm in this fishbowl. I had an executive decision. It was my 4th running back. I had to decide. Actually, it was even my 4th. Yeah, it was my 4th running back. I had to make a decision. Do I go Breece Hall? Do I go Javonte Williams? I was torn. I'm like, let me take the safe floor of Javonte in a better offense. And I went Javonte as my RB4 in that league. I was saying, well, Joe, how did you get an RB4? Because it's a super flex 2 quarterback league. You can start up to 2 quarterbacks really. And everybody went robust quarterback in the first 2 rounds. I was just loaded up on running backs. So my running backs are Derrick Henry, Najee Harris, Joe Mixon, and I went Javonte after that. And then I got Kenneth Walker after that as well. So I passed up on Breece Hall in that league, and then I was in a $2,000 buy-in league, and he was sitting there, and I had to make a decision, Zeke Elliott or Breece Hall as my RB3 in this case, and I went Zeke Elliott. So I passed up on Breece Hall. I like him. I like the ceiling. Unfortunately, I didn't get him, but he could boom.
The opportunity is there. I'm not excited based on what's around him.
All right, Tim. That was a great show. Wow. I liked it. A lot of talking here, and it was a longer one. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Manscaped.com, guys. Showerline 20, save 20%. Go head on over there right now. Tim, man, it was great having you back, man. People like it. They like to see you. They like to hear you.
I'm always here, guys. If I'm not here in person, I'm here in spirit.
He's wearing the council shirt to represent as well.
That's it. And I don't wear this very often, even when I'm on camera. So today I put it on. Special occasion.
Thanks for representing, Tim. I'm representing my Titans hat and then my bandwagon divisional rival, the Colts, in the background. A very contrast to day-to-day. Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys, for following. Subscribe, thumbs up. Get 60 rounds as well. Use code TUBE20. We'll talk to you guys soon. We're out. Thanks, Tim.
Have a good one, everybody.